Alrighty, so in this lesson we're looking at the duration and capacity, these two concepts as they relate to the multi-store model. In the previous lesson, students looked at they were introduced to the model and the idea that it's got the three stores and the control processes that influence this flow of information between those three stores. And now really the purpose of today's lesson is looking at this key study. How does Peterson and Peterson's experiment support the multi-store model? We want them to be able to comprehend the methodology and be able to summarize it, but then to be able to go further and link it back to what it shows about the multi-store model of memory. I would do a simple memory test either in their workbooks or maybe on a piece of notepaper or on a whiteboard, mini whiteboard. They just try and diagram the multi-store model, and we're going to keep going over and over that the next few lessons, and then we can put this up here for the answers for them to check. This is 6 minutes. You can watch it, see if you think it's good, relevant or not, but I think it's quite a funny little stand-up routine about short-term memory. And then this crash course video summarizes the multi-store model and talks about memory formation. It's 10 minutes long. I would only watch it to 4 minutes 47. Now, what we're going to do here is replicate the Peterson and Peterson experiment. So students are going to partner up and they experiment on one another. Everything they need is in the workbook, and the instructions do look pretty complex, and I'm fine with that. I really want students to try and work together and figure it out and really rack their brains about what's happening. I try not to try and stand at the front and explain how it works and model it too much, but just let them get their hands dirty and go for it. And then once they're finished, I would get them, I do make sure I walk around the room to make sure they're doing it properly, because often they misunderstand the instructions. And do encourage them to ask questions, but then once they finish, there's space in the workbook for them just to write notes, aims, methods, results, and the conclusion of the study. So after everyone's had a good chance at writing that down, then I would get into the chalk and talk and explain, right, this is what happened. And the important part, this one sentence here, that's what it says, is supporting that claim of the multi-store model, that the short-term memory is short-term. And if we don't have any rehearsal, then information is not going to travel from that short-term store to the long-term store. They can have a think, pair, share as well about talking about the limitations. Mundane realism, generalizability. I'm not sure where it fits here, but if we think, that this is meaningless trigrams, consonant triplets, right? They have no significance. There's no, would that apply to memories that are significant? There's nothing visual about them. These are just sounds, so could it apply to visual memories? These are also, there's no real incentive to remember this information. That's another factor. So, to what extent does this reflect real life, information that we might have to try and remember? And so then we think, well, can that explain that short-term memory of other types of information? I would check their workbooks, make sure they're on board, and then just to reflect maybe another think, pair, share, or just maybe an exit ticket, whatever. But why should we bother learning about this? We're focusing on memory, and then want students to think about why we're learning about memory, and so it could be a good time to think about that at the end of this lesson. I would assign this as a homework. If they want to, they can watch it at double speed. It'll only take 10 minutes. Or even an optional homework if you like. This is really interesting. This is a journalist who studied, he went and reported on those memory challenges, whatever they have, people, and they have to memorize like whole sequences of decks of cards and things like this. And what they find is that the people have just normal brains, normal memories, but they just have really, really good strategies. And there's a twist in the end of the TED Talk, which is really pretty mind-blowing. So I think that's a really good one to watch, but it is 20 minutes, so it might be too long to what we have in the course. But I do like students to watch it because it's pretty cool. All right, next lesson is looking at the biological evidence of the multi-store model.